dive. We're cutting through the noise again today to get you those really essential, actionable insights. And today we're tackling a phrase, one everyone uses, but maybe doesn't quite nail down in a modern context. Work on yourself.
No.
I mean, when you're running a company, building a brand, leading teams, it's that always-on pressure, right? And work on yourself can feel a bit, fluffy, generic.
Yeah, it really can. Like something you do on vacation, not part of your core strategy.
Mm.
But we found this really interesting source this week. This founder, J.D. Parashar, he completely flips that. He treats self-work not as like self-help slogans, but as a serious engineering challenge. He actually calls it building internal architecture.
Internal architecture.
Yeah.
Okay, so mental, emotional, spiritual frameworks.
Exactly. Frameworks strong enough to actually support everything you're trying to build externally. In the business, in the brand.
Okay, that changes things. That makes it sound less like optional self-care and more like, mission-critical infrastructure.
Precisely. It makes it directly relevant if you're trying to scale something significant.
But how does this idea, this architecturally sound self-work, how does it really differ in practice from all the generic advice out there?
Well, it comes down to structure and specificity. Parashar breaks it down systematically. 4 foundational components: mind, body, character, and spirit. It's kind of like ensuring your foundational code is clean, your hardware is running smoothly before you try to ship some ambitious product.
Got it. So the goal here today is to pull out those surprising, actionable tactics from each of these pillars for you.
Yeah. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it. We start with the first one, maybe the most crucial, working on the mind. And he defines this as designing clarity. And the core metaphor he uses, which I think will resonate with anyone focused on execution, is treating your mind like a code base.
Yes. And if you accept that metaphor, suddenly the work you need to do becomes really systematic, doesn't it? He argues pretty strongly that for most high-level founders or creators, the biggest bottleneck isn't usually external. It's not the market, it's not competitor, it's internal.
It's simply mental clutter. Yeah, if your internal code base is messy, bloated with old assumptions, worries going in circles, your execution just won't be sharp.
Right. Okay, so if the mind is code, what are the actionable refactors here? Because just saying eliminate limiting beliefs, that's another one of those phrases that can feel a bit vague.
He makes it concrete. He links the actions to engineering terms. So removing bugs. That means actively identifying and deleting those old narratives holding you back.
Okay. And refactoring logic.
That's about intentionally reframing problems, asking better questions. So instead of, why is this failing, you ask something like, what core assumption did I make that led to this outcome?
Ah, okay.
Yep.
That immediately shifts the energy, doesn't it? From blame to diagnosis.
Exactly.
And I liked his third point, too, about updating dependencies. Basically, keep learning, avoid getting stuck intellectually.
Absolutely crucial. But the real, tactical gold nugget here, the thing he says saves him incredible amounts of stress and time, involves AI. Wait. Using AI to manage cognitive load.
Yes. Not just for business tasks, but for managing his own thinking.
Okay, this is the bit that really stopped me. A tech founder using AI for his, emotional architecture. What's the prompt? What does he actually ask it?
Okay, so every single morning, he asks an LLM this specific question. What am I overthinking today that doesn't deserve my energy?
Wow, that's using some serious tech to triage, emotional debt.
Pretty much.
But why does asking a tool work better than, say, just journaling about it?
Well, the thinking is it forces that subconscious worry, that clutter, into a structured, logical format. It demands a specific answer. By asking the AI, he says he brings the clutter into the light. Then he can immediately dismiss it, or if it's actually valid, consciously prioritize it, schedule it.
So it's cognitive triage, but done algorithmically.
Yeah.
That frees up processing power for real problems before the day even starts.
Exactly. Maximize clarity first. But, you can have the cleanest code, the sharpest mind, but if the machine running it is burning out...
The whole thing crashes.
Right. Which brings us smoothly to the second pillar, working on the body. He calls this maintaining the machine.
The body as essential hardware. He's really direct about this, isn't he? His physical routine, those 2 hours of movement daily.
Yeah.
He frames it not as vanity, not even just health, but as an operational necessity for his mind.
Totally. It is explicitly not for looks. It is purely for mental stability. If the hardware overheats, think high cortisol, sleep debt, then the best software, your brilliant ideas, your strategies, they just fail.
And he has specific examples, like running helps reorganize ideas.
Yeah, he finds running helps untangle complex thoughts. And lifting weights, that physically resets his focus, grounds him. It's about managing the internal state through physical action.
I really appreciate how he connects these physical lessons back to business strategy.
Sure.
You mentioned the idea of consistency versus intensity. How does strength training inform his market strategy?
Well, he noticed that in strength training, especially early on, you get that quick hit, that intense feeling of progress. But real compounding strength, the kind that lasts, prevents injury, gives you long-term power that only comes from the, let's be honest, sometimes mundane act of showing up, day after day, year after year.
Okay.
And he saw a parallel in startups. Businesses often chase those intense viral spikes, burn through resources, burn out teams, instead of focusing on that consistent, maybe slower 1% daily gain that truly strengthens the core foundation of the business over time.
Consistency beats intensity. Wow, that's a huge reframe, especially for leaders under pressure for that explosive hypergrowth.
It connects physical discipline directly to sustainable business building, maybe even capital preservation.
Okay, moving on to the third pillar. This one's character, and the focus is building trust capital.
Ugh.
This feels like the layer that sits on top of everything else.
Yeah, it really does. He points out that in our world, which is getting more transactional, more automated, the ultimate competitive advantage, the real moat, isn't just tech anymore. It's human connection.
And his key point here is,
You can automate marketing funnels, you can automate customer service to some extent, but you absolutely cannot automate integrity.
right. So that's where the real self-work comes in for leadership.
Mhm.
Because loyalty, whether it's your team or your customers, it hinges on trust.
Completely. He makes this great distinction. People might follow you initially for clarity, a clear vision, a smart strategy, but they only stay for integrity.
Trust is the glue. Makes sense.
So maintaining that integrity means being really brutally honest with yourself about your own motives.
And he has a practical filter for this too, right? For making decisions.
Yes, a simple two-part test designed to catch that ego-driven self-sabotage before it happens. First part. If this action feeds my ego more than it delivers real impact for the world, for the customer, then pause. Reassess immediately.
Okay, ego versus impact. And the second part.
Second part. If a decision genuinely helps people grow, employees, customers, whoever, then double down on it, even if it's harder, messier, less glamorous.
Let's make that concrete for a second. Say a founder could make a big splashy announcement just for buzz
Right, feeds the ego.
versus spending that same time having a tough but necessary conversation with the team about culture.
The filter says, pause the announcement. That's mostly noise, minimal real impact. The internal conversation. That helps people grow, strengthens the foundation. That's where the energy should go.
And he believes applying this filter consistently is what keeps brands human, prevents them from becoming just cold, transactional things driven by vanity metrics.
Exactly. It's about aligning actions with genuine impact and growth, not just personal validation. Which leads us, quite naturally, to the final pillar. This one feels maybe the most profound. Working on the spirit, defined as protecting perspective.
This is the counterbalance, isn't it, to all the external drive and ambition.
It has to be.
And this is where it gets really interesting for me, because he uses intentional contrast to achieve this balance.
Yeah, explain that.
Well, he's immersed in deep tech all day, right? Constant noise, constant stimulus. But then he specifically carves out time to meditate in the mountains with zero technology.
Right. Total opposite ends of the spectrum.
And he says this isn't just like a relaxing hobby, it's a necessary tool. What does silence teach him?
He says silence teaches him something fundamental about creation and scaling.
Right.
True success isn't about making more noise. It's about alignment.
Alignment.
Yeah. The quieter he gets internally, the clearer the signal becomes. The right next move for the business, the correct strategic pivot. It emerges from that quiet space, not from the chaos.
So quietude is a calibration tool. That makes a lot of sense.
And it puts the whole internal architecture idea into its ultimate context. He gives this really stark warning to ambitious leaders. Success basically means nothing if you destroy your peace, your internal state, getting there. So this whole framework, mind, body, character, spirit, it's not just about performance. It's prophylactic. It's defense against burnout while you're pursuing big external goals.
And about building an internal foundation strong enough to actually hold the weight of your own ambition without crumbling.
You got it.
So it really does transform work on yourself from this thing you fit in when you have time.
Yeah, like a side project.
Into the absolute core infrastructure that all external success is built upon. Okay, let's try and synthesize this. The central theme running through this founder's approach is pretty clear. Working on yourself isn't the side project. It's the core product.
Hmm.
Your business, your brand, your impact, it all scales directly from this internal code, this internal architecture.
And the final takeaway from his conclusion is powerful. If you commit to upgrading your mind, body, character, and perspective consistently, daily,
Yeah.
you stop chasing balance.
Don't chase it.
No. You stop chasing it as some separate, elusive thing out there. Instead, you become balance. It's integrated. It's far more efficient than constantly reacting.
Okay. So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We've gone through more than just concepts here. We have 4 specific actionable areas: mind as code base, body as hardware, character as trust capital, and spirit as perspective alignment.
And if your internal state truly is the foundation for everything you build externally, we'd really encourage you to reflect. Which specific component of your internal architecture feels like it's most due for a refactor right now?
Yeah, maybe think about that. And maybe even more pointedly, which one of those specific surgical tactics we talked about, that AI query, the ego versus impact filter, the consistency principle, which one could you actually test out? Maybe even tomorrow.
Because those small, daily acts of refining your internal architecture, that might just be what separates the leaders who scale sustainably from the ones who inevitably overheat.
Something to definitely think about. That's all the time we have for this deep dive.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time.